If you're interested in my pentatonic picking power book and the modal alternate picking, today is the day, because starting tomorrow I'm gonna raise the prices for those. So for now they're $9 each, or you get both for $15. Tomorrow it's gonna go up to $15 for each book and then $25 for the bundle. So if you've been thinking about getting it, I would highly suggest that you get it right now. So in this one I'm gonna go through the lick you just heard. And this lick is based on the sequence we did in yesterday's video, the whole legato and picking exercise. That kind of deal. So I'm going to link to that video as well, so you can check that out if you missed it. But that exercise will help you get through this lick in a much better way, instead of simply working on the lick itself over and over again. You can do that, but it's not going to be as beneficial as in learning an exercise and applying that all over the fretboard and all the strings, because then you're actually going to build your overall technique, which you do somewhat when you work on specific licks as well, but it's nowhere near as thorough when you can do it in a more systematic fashion. So that's why I like to combine systematic exercises that might not always sound great, but also working on licks, of course. So I don't want to give the idea that working on licks is a bad thing. It's just that a lot of people seem to go all in one direction. And I remember back in the day being like, oh, I wonder what's the best approach for practicing whatever. And then realizing like, well, I don't have to choose the approaches. I can do both if I feel that both have some benefit. And that's what I feel when it comes to, working on both the systematic stuff, the unmusical stuff, so to speak, and also working on specific licks or solos or whatever it might be that you actually want to play that sounds good. So this lick then, besides the start here, which is a sweep, it's going to be all this sequence using the D Dorian scale. And Dorian is the second mode of the major scale, but it's really a scale of its own. All the modes are. So the intervals of a Dorian scale will be 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. And it's this major sixth from the major scale that gives us the Dorian sound. So that's a little bit about the actual tonality, but if you look at it from just a note standpoint, it's going to be all white keys on the piano, meaning all, no sharps or flats here. So we're starting here on the 5th fret of the A string, and you have the tabs available on my Patreon, so you can check that out if you need to. Basically, we're just going to go up with this D minor 7 arpeggio. Right, and then I pick it like this, down, hammer, down, 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 up. And from here, it's going to be all left hand. You can pick more than I do, but you don't really need to. So it's up to you what kind of sound you want. So from this upstroke here, I'm going to go using that sequence again, the 6-note sequence. That thing, but I'm going to go up the whole string. So I'm not going to stay in the same position. As you can see here, I'm kind of reaching as well. So I don't do this and try to slide. I want as few slidey sounds as possible in this case. So I try to do that. So even though you might not reach the whole way, it's just going to be way less of a jump when you get to it. So I do that for 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, just following the C major / D Dorian scale. And then when I get to this point, I'm going to go down in this scale position. But still use the sequence on each string, so. Whoops. Then I also smack the 12th fret above harmonic here at the end. But when you go down here, I use hammer-ons from nowhere, and that's just a fancy name for hammering on the string just from the air, from nowhere. So And actually doing that is a good exercise. Not necessarily that fast, but doing that. So you get all the, actually I picked that note now, but. And then you can connect two groups. And then. Until you feel you can try the whole thing. And I would also work on this, you know, the whole thing, but very slowly. So you would go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And you do that in conjunction with working on it in more of a basically going from group to group. And when I do this, I group them together beat to beat, so I don't go, because that doesn't really do much because you don't get the connection. So you can go through the whole thing like this and still be no better at playing it really, because you're missing the connections, right? Because you're never working on this part of it. So it's very important to do that. However long the groups are, you want to make sure that you get it to the next beat if you want to do this kind of, you know, kind of a speed burst type practice. And be careful here, because it's easy to get the, you know, not fret the note correctly when you go from string to string, but that's why it's such a good thing to work on this individually. So give this a try.